Welcome back to the Capes and Tights podcast right here on capesandtights.com. I'm your host, Justin Soderberg. This episode is once again brought to you by our friends over at Galactic Comics and Collectibles over at galacticcomicsandcollectibles.com. We welcome back once again our friend Adam Cesare to the show to discuss The Clown in the Cornfield movie, adapted from his novel from 2020. Adam talks about the adaptation process, the movie itself, the success of the film, and so much more. We also touched on his new novelization of the Toxic Avenger remake movie that comes out this summer. The book hits the shelves on September 2nd, as well as a couple other things teased Clown on the Cornfield 4, including the title of Clown on the Cornfield 4. So check this episode out with Adam Cesare. But before you do, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads, all those places. You can subscribe, rate, review over at Spotify or Apple or wherever you find your podcasts. You can watch the video portion of this podcast over on YouTube. And as always, you can visit capesandtights.com for so much more. But this is Adam Cesare, author of the Clown in the Cornfield series, and now having Clown in the Cornfield, the first book, adapted into a feature film called Clown in the Cornfield, fittingly. Directed by Eli Craig. So check this out. This is Adam Cesare on the Capes and Tights podcast. Enjoy, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast, Adam. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you, Justin?
Good. You've been busy. We talked a little bit about this before we started recording. You've been a busy person.
Yeah,
you're a world traveler at this point.
Yeah. I'm like halfway to American Airline preferred status, which is like awesome. Cause but I don't think I've never made it that far up the chart. Like I'm like a traveling businessman. So I'm like, yeah, cause it was started in, I don't even remember when that was. Was that February, March? South by Southwest was the world premiere of the movie. That was in Austin, Texas. And then since then I've been secret kind of professional screening in New York.
Yeah.
New Orleans, New York again twice, Chicago, Vegas right after that, a few other places, and then Knoxville. I just got back from Tennessee, less than 24 hours ago. So I'm a sleepy boy. Yeah,
that's crazy. I mean, imagine if you were promoting an actual book right now too. Like, imagine if you like,
it's good. Yeah, it's good because it's like it's weird because I get to kind of use the old talking points from 5 years ago. Like I just talk about book one again.
Yeah. Did you have to reread it just to remember you get it all right?
No. I'm like I that's the thing. I'm reading. I like Screen Rant just did like an article that's like the differences between the movie and the book, and it's like a listicle kind of thing. Yeah. And one of them, I'm like, I'm pretty sure that was not true. Like one of them, I'm like, well, I have to read it again, but I don't think that one's right. I don't think that one's actually true.
Well, like you would get on to the next thing so quickly. And
exactly. No, but people would be so disappointed to hear that I don't hold the continuity in that in that heavily in my head. Like when I have to check something for writing a sequel, I'll check it. But I read that article this morning and I was like, is that one right?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I did an event on Tuesday with Christopher Golden, and Christopher Golden was talking. He's like, well, in the book, the grandfather, or is it the father? I can't. And like, where people were like, didn't you just write this book? He's like, well, I wrote it a while ago. It just came out.
By the time you're talking about a book, like you probably drafted, 3 years ago. Yeah.
And at one point, it might have been a father, or then it moved to the grandfather. Like you don't know. Editors and the publisher wants you to do something a certain way or something like that. But yeah, it was kind of funny how that he's like, I think it's like that. Yeah. So. But yeah, I mean that's a pretty good point. You're promoting a book because you're also promoting, obviously, as we have over here. I have movie tie-in edition.
Movie tie-in edition. I mean, that's like, not to be like that sells itself, but like that's that's in Targets and Walmarts and stuff like that. It's like I didn't really view that one as a book launch just because it's like a new cover. But it
helps because you're like you've done this before. Like
exactly.
Where can you buy the book, or what's the book about? You're like, I can tell you a little bit about the book.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Which you didn't actually get a tour really for round one, right?
For book one, I think we might have spoken about it, but it was 2020.
Yeah.
No one was traveling. No one was doing film festivals, and no one was doing book tours.
Yeah.
In 2020 when the book came out, so it's kind of a nice little 5 years later. Quasi victory lap to get to do it, which is nice and nice to get to because and for the second book, my daughter had just been born, so
Yeah.
I didn't do a tour there. I did for three, and I really
Hmm.
like I left it all in the paint for three,
Hmm.
um, just because I was like making up for lost time. But I like doing events. I
Yeah.
like getting out and seeing people. And Knoxville, like, which was the only like real book event
Yeah.
because it was a con. I just didn't bring the right amount of books because I sold out a book one like by noon on like the Saturday, and it was like a Friday and Saturday con. Like Friday was the preview night and Saturday was the thing. So I was just trying to sell people sequels to a book they like couldn't buy,
Yeah.
which was great.
Buy this now
But
and then go back to
yeah,
your local
no,
bookstore and buy the
and
first one.
hey, to Knoxville's credit, they did,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool. Yeah, and so it's a neat. I'm having to like re-navigate like what my normal, operating procedure is with the
Hmm.
movie now, because I think the
Hmm.
movie is just, I think you can conceptualize it and be like, oh yeah, like a lot of people saw it this weekend, but like it's just so many more people than like
Yeah.
read books. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yes.
so many more
Yes.
you're like I think more people probably saw that movie this weekend, and the book's been out for 5 years. The
Yeah.
book's a very popular book. Like the book, like
Yeah.
is like the third book hit the USA Today bestseller list. But I bet more people saw the movie this weekend
And have read the
than
book.
have read the book, and it was in it over a 4-day span if you're counting Thursday, like
Yeah.
which is cool, which is really cool, but it's also kind of like a reminder to you, like when you do events and stuff like that, it's like, oh yeah, this is like these are horror movie forward events.
Yeah.
These are not like horror book events.
Hmm.
But it's very cool.
And but
It's
I
a
mean, obviously you're huge into horror films too, so it's not just that
oh yeah, no,
getting to live that
yeah, yeah.
experience is pretty cool too. I bet. Yeah. But I mean, for people who don't know, how did this experience? I know for me at least, this Clown the Cornfield one wasn't even on the shelves yet before the book was optioned, right?
Yeah. This has been like a long time gestating, but also like with things like that, like so Clown on the Cornfield just came out. It was directed by Eli Craig,
Mm.
who directed Tucker and Dale versus Evil, co-written by him and screenwriter named Carter Blanchard. Wonderful people, wonderful writers. Um, Let me ask, can you hear my dog? He's barking.
Yeah, he's fine. It's okay.
You,
Don't worry
you
about it.
you'll okay.
Yeah.
He'll stop in a second, I think. But he's created right now, so we can talk. But so like those that don't know, Eli Craig co-wrote the movie with Carter Blanchard. He directed it. He did Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, which is a great movie. Um, but this has been like in the works like since before the book even came out.
Mhm.
And with things like that, like we had like a deadline article, I think like maybe the year the book came out, like 2020, like a the producers of Smile, or
Yeah.
maybe it was 2021 because it was whatever post Smile
Yeah.
came out, because it was Temple Hill Entertainment who had a big horror hit with Smile, and they hadn't really done a ton of horror before that. They were mostly YA adaptations. They were very high profile movies like The Hate You Give and Maze
Mm.
Runner and stuff like that. But I think Smile doing well kind of like push this project maybe a
Mhm.
little bit further on their slate. But when you read deadline articles and stuff like that as a film fan, you're kind of like, oh, like, that'll be cool. But like we'll see if that ever actually happens. Like there's a lot of headlines in Variety and Hollywood Reporter and Deadline for movies that just don't
Yeah.
exist. Like that
Yeah.
never end up existing.
Yeah.
So like I as a film fan and a writer, I kind of was like, yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. Like
Yeah.
I very much like I took the like when I was doing cons and stuff like that, and I would use that as like kind of a way in. People were like, "Oh, I heard this is going to be a movie," and I was very much like, "Yeah, it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it." But then I also was like, towards the end of our conversation, I'd always be like, "Well, but I don't believe any movie's real until I walk out of the theater, haven't seen
Yeah.
it." And then flash forward to last year, and going to Winnipeg while they were shooting, and like seeing like hundreds of people like on the street, and like resetting the town as like Kettle Springs, and I'm like, I think maybe this is, I
Like
can get
it's
excited now because I think it's really going to happen. That said, like, look, they make movies all the time and then like dump for tax purposes and stuff like that.
Yep.
So even at that point, like I was still a little guarded. But yeah, it's been a 5 year, I guess, process, and I
Mhm.
was involved for a lot of it. Like I read Carter's original script, I gave notes. The second Eli came on as director, he got in touch with me. We had a bunch of meetings and Zoom windows like this. And then he had me on set. So like I feel very like supported and very
Mhm.
included in the process, which is a really nice thing for an author to feel, because it's not the norm. That's
No.
not or not even not the norm, but that's not like it's not a given. It's not a given
Yes.
that like you're gonna be. welcome with open arms, like on the film side of things.
I,
But
I think it
yeah,
helps as a horror film too, because I feel like horror films are so much more like, I don't know, down to earth, or like these kind of like
yeah,
indie feeling horror films, because it's like those are the way like be like, oh, we wouldn't be here without it. But like if you were like if you have a non-horror book or something, like say for an example Maze Runner, I'm sure
yeah.
that was produced a little differently than probably
Well, I'm
having
sure
runs
it's
that.
just
Yeah,
a bigger thing. I mean,
yeah,
we don't have a lot of CGI in our movie.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
and um I think it probably is a case by case basis, and I think
yeah,
Temple Hill seems to be. I was just talking to them last night, and I think this is kind of their MO a little bit, where
yeah.
they're like, no, we
You
want to
hear,
be
yeah,
like creative partners
yeah,
with authors, which is a cool thing. But yeah, I don't know. It's been a very neat thing, and I've gotten, within the confines of just the last couple of months we're talking about, like
yeah,
just touring and doing
yeah,
all this stuff. Like I've gotten to kind of know, like like on set, I like made small talk with Kevin Durand and like
yeah,
like said hi to the kids. Like I like
yeah,
took like one picture with like I call them kids, but they're
yeah.
adults. But
Cats, yeah.
yeah, they're playing the Kettle
Like
Springs
kids,
kids in the movies. But like I took one picture with like Carson and Katie
yeah,
and Cassandra and Io and but like but on this like tour, I've gotten to like know these people a little bit more, be in interviews with them, especially Eli, who I've been a fan of his for 15 years,
yeah.
since it's been 15 years since Tucker and Dale came out. And I was like day one at Best Buy on the Tuesday that DVD came out. So like, yeah, it's really a cool thing just as from a fan perspective.
Mm.
Um, and I just feel really good about their movie. It's
That-
nice to be able to because we're doing this even post release weekend.
yeah,
Like it's nice to even to be like doing press to the point where like, no, like, I'm serious because like if I didn't like the movie, I wouldn't be doing
yeah.
this much press for it. Like if I didn't like the movie, I wouldn't be like, yes,
You're like hiding in a corner
screw those
somewhere. Be like,
deadlines on
yeah.
the book.
Yeah.
Like I really am now.
Yeah. I mean, it's certified fresh. I mean, that's something to say something about it right there. I mean,
Oh yeah,
that's one of
no,
those
the
things
proof's in the
that
pudding a little bit.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
right there. But yeah, it's funny how you mentioned how like it's only like I say only 5 years in this world we live in of 5 years for a movie from book to adaptation being on the screen. I've said it before on this, and people who have listened, Jay Bon and Singa had the Killer's Game
Yeah.
picked up 30 years ago, something like that, and it's
Yeah,
been
no,
auctioned
I
like
understand.
15
I
or
understand
20
in the grand scheme of
times.
things, 5 years is actually very fast for this kind of stuff. I really do. I do understand that. So I'm not
No,
being,
no, 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 yeah.
I'm not ungrateful in that perspective. But 5 years is 5 years. Like 5 years
Five
is
years,
5
yeah,
years.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
it's a lot. I mean, because you get to see it too. You're hoping, and the same
yeah,
thing. It's like
exactly. Yeah,
when we talked about I just closed on a house, and it's like when they accept your offer, you're still that 30 days or so before you actually sign the paperwork. We're like, this still could not happen, and I'm
yeah.
like
I
not
hope I
telling
have a
people.
house.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the same thing. I'm like, I hope I have a movie. Yeah,
it'd be really cool to see that. Yeah,
yeah,
but I mean, so that this weekend's come and gone. I mean, the premieres have happened. People have gone out
yeah.
and seen it. You've seen social media reactions, stuff like that. I mean, are you relieved now a little
Oh
bit
yeah.
that now it's
Oh
out?
for sure.
Yeah,
Oh for sure. And just like not to make it all about money, but like
yeah,
the fact that we did well at the box
yeah,
office is like that was what it was all for. Not what it was all for, but it was like you just want a film to be seen. Like so
yes,
many movies, especially in this climate in this day and
yeah,
age, there are huge movies. There are huge movies
yes,
with big movie stars that have that
yeah, big
came out
money.
a month ago. That if I told you the name of the movie, you'd be like, that came out already? Like
Yeah,
you like literally wouldn't know. You know what I mean? Like so the
yeah,
idea that we somehow on some level broke through
mm,
like the consciousness to get people out of their houses, off their asses, to
yeah,
go pay $20 plus plus a babysitter, like
yeah,
to go see the movie is like wow, we did it.
yes,
And not we I'm
no,
not
but
leading the pack there.
yeah,
The RLJE and Shutter and our IFC's incredible PR people, and Eli and all the actors, like everyone was leaving it on the paint for this.
mm,
So like just watching it and just being like, it's such a weird like Schrodinger's box kind of cat kind
yes,
of thing where it's like, all right, we spent 3 months talking about this in like into microphones. I'm sure plenty of other people have spent 3 months talking about shit that just no one
yeah,
goes to see. Like, so like it was like, that Thursday night. I got like a text like at like 1:30 in the morning,
yeah,
like into Friday,
yeah,
after Thursday from like one of the producers who was just like looking good, like, you know, like, and it just was such a relief because like that was the first you'd heard of it. There weren't even any like public numbers out, but it was like,
Yeah.
and again, it's not all the money, but the money is a reflection of how many people ended up
Yeah,
going
money
to the,
equals ticket
like,
sales. I mean,
yeah,
tickets mean
money
tickets
equals
butts to the
interest, and
seat.
and people,
Yeah.
caring. So that was
Yeah.
just, it was just a cool, it's a nice thing. Like, and it's not, it's not like, it's not like we're Thunderbolts or anything, but
Yes.
like like this idea of breaking through and getting people to actually care and come out,
Yeah.
and the fact that people are enjoying the movie is awesome. Like, it's just a really neat, we knew that's the thing. I know it's a good movie. I really like the movie. So like that wasn't even the concern.
Yeah.
The concern was being like, but really, no, go. Like,
Yes.
but really, like, as long as we can get, it's like presence is all that matters. Like, because once the presence is like, then Eli and his and company take over.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
You know,
yeah.
I live in Maine, and I live in the community. I work in the community of University of Maine, so the university
Yeah.
is right here. And we have multiple movie theaters, and I even reached out to you and was like, hey, is there a place where I can find, because a lot of even like the regional small theaters, the very like independent theaters that are
Yeah.
not like your AMC's or those kind of places, I didn't even see that they were getting it until like Tuesday. Like
Yeah.
Tuesday morning, it was like, okay, I'll look at this weekend, these are the tickets that are going to be on
Yeah,
sale, and so
exactly.
on
And
and so
that's
forth.
when, for a movie like this, that's
Yeah.
when, like, so
Yeah.
people were asking me, and I just had to kind of I just had to keep answering like it's gonna be there.
Yeah.
When we really didn't, I'm sure you could make a movie about the 2 weeks leading up to
Mhm.
release and them just like going around and trying like their damnedest to get theaters, like,
Yes.
because the theatrical number, the number of screens kind of kept
Yeah.
going up in like
Yeah.
emails, but like up until that Tuesday, you weren't really
Yeah.
sure like how many it was going
Yeah.
to be. Like, and I remember just kind of fandangoing around here and
Yeah.
stuff like that. When they're telling me like, don't worry, Adam, it's going to be there.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know until you see it. Like, it's so
Yes.
many things you don't know until you like it's, and then boop, boop, and it like it's in all the theaters and it's
Yeah.
like perfect.
Well,
Like,
I was planning my road
you know.
trip about 3 hours from here to go see it because I'm like, I don't know. It's like this we're in
Yeah,
rural
luckily,
Maine.
yeah, no, luckily we got to you in Maine. We got to
Yes.
you and Mr. King. We were
Yes.
like, no, we got
Yes.
one right there. We got
It was great. And it's funny thing is that seeing that I actually talked to like a friend of a friend who knows someone at the local theater, like who runs the local theater, and he said it was actually pretty good turnout at the theater
Oh
in
yeah.
Maine too. And it was graduation weekend up here, like University of
Oh,
Maine's
that's awesome.
graduation. And so thinking about that too, I'm like, I don't know if that influenced it. Like people were like, oh, I'm Maine for my graduation. I might as well go see it at this theater because I really want to see it. Or some people were like, oh, I'll still go out and do something because I don't want to go over here to this restaurant because
Yeah,
they're
exactly. And it's
packed
like
for
you're
registration.
you're and you're competing against a bunch of different
Yes.
stuff. There's a
Yep.
bunch of people who are like, I'm no, I'm got a graduation party, or no,
Mhm.
I'm got to like so like you never know, and that's the thing. It's these minute to minute, week to week, hour to hour, like no one knows. No one
Yep.
knows anything, like the William Goldman thing. Like no one, you can do all these projections, you can do all the promotion, and it's like yes, the film crew, and it's like, well, what do you think is gonna happen? They're just like and it's and then it's a happy ending. I probably would have canceled this podcast if I wasn't able to tell these stories. I probably would have been like, fuck this, I'm not
So
doing
I do this stuff. I can't do this right now. But yeah, I mean, so did they text you and say, "Oh, hey, successful. We're ready for Clown on the Cornfield 2"? Is that what's going on now? Is that?
no, yeah, it's nice try with that. Nice try getting that hot scoop.
You know,
Yeah,
no, but
yeah,
it's
no,
funny.
I think
So
let's
here's the deal. It's one of those things that it did not say. This is not me speaking for you, and it's not speaking for anything. But the success in the box office and actually doing well doesn't hurt the fact
yeah,
that
and
there's a sequel in the
I'm
future.
sure this is
That's what
helping.
I'm
Like,
saying.
yeah,
Yes. Yes.
we have not had
Yes.
those specific conversations yet. And if we did, I don't think I'd say, but
Yes.
I don't
Obviously,
think,
but
like I think, yeah, that's first, that would be an instant no or an instant barrier if it didn't, like, and we were over that hurdle. So don't
yes.
that, then moving on to the next problem.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
It's such a cool thing to see. And I think it's one of those things we've gotten to know each other a little bit over the years. And you've been
Oh,
on the
yeah.
podcast a number of times. And obviously, I'm a huge fan. I've got obviously all the books over here. We've got German editions and French editions and all that stuff. That's just,
Oh, I didn't even notice. I
yeah,
see.
see
Oh,
right
well, look at
there.
that.
Oh,
Yeah, French
yeah.
and German. Look at that.
Yeah.
Wow, you're
Uh,
completely set dressed for this.
yeah,
This is great.
it's one of those things. And I'm packing. So I'm like putting books
Nice.
away. And I'm like, oh, shit, I can't put those books away. I gotta get those out there and see those out there. And obviously, like I said, I have number one, but I needed the movie tie-in edition.
Nice.
And
That Five O Goes West, is that a laser disc?
it's a laser disc. It's
See,
signed by
I knew it wasn't gonna be like an LP or something. That's neat.
signed by Philip Glazer. So it's
Oh,
five of himself. So yeah,
sick.
yeah. And I met
Nice,
Rufio a couple weeks ago. So Rufio signed my Hook
nice.
VHS. But yeah, uh, See, we gotta get this at some point. I don't know. I mean, those people who make those modern day movies into VHSs. I want to clown the Cornfield VHS now.
Oh, you want to hear? You want to see something real cool? Look, I literally don't even need to get up. I just unpacked my bag. I unpacked my bag to take my headphones out.
So
I
had
had to
one for you.
these.
I want to see this thing. Look at that.
Yeah. I love this. I love the font on the top.
Yeah, that's amazing. That is such a cool. Like, it's just like. But those are like, the VHS things is one of those things. When I go to a convention or something like that, and I get the chance to meet someone that I've grew up viewing or something like that, and I'm like, if they had a VHS version of something, I'm buying that VHS if I don't already have it and getting it signed. Like I had my Scream VHS behind me and things like that. So like there's certain ones that I'm like, I need this VHS signed, and my wife's like, stop collecting new shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not just collecting VHS tapes.
New shit on old formats.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. He was so nice. He said he saw this. He saw the movie. And then he had to work in the morning. He saw the movie on Friday night, and then he had to work in the morning on Saturday before going to the con. But he stayed up all night to make this after seeing the movie. Oh, there's even a thing.
Oh yeah,
like
a sticker on the front. Yeah,
a sticker. He says it's a completely blank tape, so when it is streaming, I could just dupe it onto it.
Oh, so from me, I'm like,
so I
awesome
can make my own VHS.
Movie.
I can make my own actual functional VHS.
Yeah, I would love it to be just like actual, like a random movie. Like you put it in, it's like Barbie or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, you put it in. It's just jazzercise tape.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's
that's so cool. I think it's one of those things that, like, obviously we know the quality of a VHS tape is not how you really want to watch a movie.
Yeah, exactly.
However, the slasher style movies, those horror movies, yeah, I could see that with like some tracking issues or something like that in there. It might just add to the whole atmosphere of watching the film. But I just think it's a cool thing. And when people like, oh, you can get a picture signed or whatever, I'm like, you only have so much space to store pictures and stuff like that. So like I always want that extra weird thing. And so like the Laserdisc, for an example, was something different to get signed. And I've gotten like cassette tapes and VHS tapes and things like that signed because
I'm
it's
the same way.
I've
got Malcolm McDowell up there. I've got Caligula, but I've got the LP.
Yeah,
like I get different stuff signed.
Yeah, you gotta get it signed because it's a cool. I think it's a lot of times I've done like at local conventions. I've done help with graphics or I've run panels or things like that. And in exchange, I'm like, I don't want any money. So the exchange, they give me these little tickets. I walk up to the celebrity or whoever and give them the ticket, and they're like, cool, and they sign something for free, so I don't have to pay for it. The convention pays for it, and so that's like I'm like, I don't want to put money. Just give me a couple of those tickets. I'll go. I met Jay Peterman from some Seinfeld recently, and he signed me thing. So this is so funny. Those are the fun things. I'm like, I'll meet a couple people and it'd be fun running those.
I like doing it. Yeah, I'll do it. I've slowed down on it. But I usually go to a con and I say like one person per con. And I've because I have less wall space. I do less 8x10s and stuff like that. I do a lot of movies. I do like if someone I really love's in a movie, like I did like pretty recently, a couple of years ago, I did Barbara Hershey, and I tried not to get them to sign like the thing they sign all the time. So I got Barbara Hershey, who was like this horror convention, like this wonderful, Titanic actor, like having to sign The Entity, like like over and over again. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna bring you Last Temptation of Christ. Like, I was like, and ditto. Like, I think I met Biling and I had her sign Southland Tales.
Yeah,
love that movie.
Well, we had Gabe. I forget Gabe, who was in Spawn. I forget his name now. Forgive me on that, but he was up here at a convention for us. But he was the kid in Pet Sematary. So he's the kid.
Gage,
and so Gage. He's signing all the Pet Sematary VHSs and DVDs and all that stuff. And I brought him Spawn because he was a kid in Spawn. And so I was like, here, I want to mix this up. I got my Wild Thornberrys movie back here somewhere. I have a Wild Thornberries. Danielle Harris always signs Halloween shit, and I'm like, no, you're signing my Wild Thornberries over there. Like she's signing half naked photos, and I'm like, no.
One would hope they appreciate it a little bit, but also just might be us. It just might be us trying to be like film guys and being like,
David Goodman, who wrote a bunch of stuff. He writes comics and stuff. That he came on Talk Comics. He signed a Wings DVD for me because he wrote a couple episodes on the season of Wings. And like, see, I'm trying to mix it up a little bit, throw it all out there. But no, now you'll be signing DVDs and books and all that stuff at conventions. Yeah, when those things come out. Yeah. But it's really cool. I mean, I think it's a really cool thing to see it. Now this is on theater screens. It will be out there for a little while. People can go see it. Obviously, it gets people to potentially read the book over again. I know I did. I read the whole series over over again, leading in, to it, and it was really cool. Actually, what I did was I listened to audiobooks now because I've read
Nice.
the physical novel, so I've actually get to
Yeah.
see that.
Well,
And
Jesse
I like,
Malinsky does a great
yeah,
job on the. Yeah, she's
phenomenal.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so, and so on and so forth. But yeah, so now I know you're working on some more and things like that. And
Yeah,
obviously, you
yeah. I'm
can't
working
really
on
talk
Clown
about
4. Yep. I'm
much
working on
about
Clown
it, but
4, and then I can say it because I've said it
yeah,
now a couple times, but it's Clown 4 colon lights camera friendo is the subtitle, and then I have a book after that. It's either going to be late 2026, early 2027. It's a vampire novel.
oh, there you go.
I've been wanting to do it for a really long time. It's called Bloodsick, and I sold that to. I had a really good time with Union Square
Yeah,
doing
for
the
influencer.
paperback version of
Yeah,
Influencer. I think we had a good. I have a good relationship with them, and I like their whole team, and I like my editor over there. So we were like, let's keep going. So Bloodsick, and then that's actually in a 2 book deal. So I don't know what
there
the
you go.
book after Bloodsick's gonna
Yeah,
be,
it's
but
yeah,
they're my home for a little while now, especially for the non-clown stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
We,
So
we, we I worked well. I mean, I know them, not know them, but we talked back and forth with them because they did Pay the Piper. And so
yeah,
for with Daniel
yep.
Krauss and George A. Romero, so we did the beer for my brewery. We did the beer with him for that one too. And so
Probably can't do the beer for
no,
Bloodsick because it's
no.
a teen novel.
Again,
So it's
you
like,
gotta
yeah,
see that's the
or
thing
we
is
could.
when you write your adult novel, that's when we
Yeah.
actually could be able to do it. It's the same thing. I'm like, oh, we'll do a Clown in the Cornfield. We can't do that. We'll do an influencer one. Can't do that. Like it's
Well,
like
you do the movie. We could. I mean, it's an R-rated movie. It's so funny. It's like Cole says in the movie
yeah,
when he's like,
yeah.
well, realistically, everyone drinks
Yes, exactly.
it.
But that's the truth, and that's the
Yeah, yeah,
whatever. So we did a
yeah,
graduation beer every year. We do a graduation beer for a couple of those. We did it like just arbitrary because we're like
yeah.
we didn't do like colors to it. Like we didn't do the color of the school, or whatever. Just a happy graduation or whatever. And we're like because we don't know. Someone graduated high
Yeah,
school. We could
hopefully
drink
they're
that.
not high schools. Yeah,
Whatever. It's not
hopefully they're
my
not high
not
school.
like a kid.
Hopefully
Yeah.
we're not committing a crime here.
Yeah, I'm like whatever, but no, it's kind of funny how that is, and yeah, it's and so yeah, we just did Nightbirds with Daniel, not Jenny Cross, Christopher Golden.
Oh
We just
yeah,
did Nightbirds
nice,
for that one. We
sick.
did the release down in New Hampshire. We went down and he did a good conversation there, and he's gonna be up
He's
here.
awesome. I've
Yeah,
known him for a long time, but I feel like I never had like a really long conversation with him
yep,
until he moderated a panel that I was on at this year's reader Scares of Care
yeah,
ReaderCon or AuthorCon.
yeah.
And he's just delightful
He's
guy.
super smart. He's very nice. He's just yeah, it's
Yeah,
really cool. And
yeah.
he did events in New England with Eric Nunnally and
And Eric's the best.
Paul Tremblay. They
Yeah.
did that down in Unlikely Story, but he's going to be up here with Clay McLeod Chapman here in Maine at the end of May, which is really cool. I'm excited to see him again do that. But yeah, it's a fun thing. But yeah, so I always say, like, oh, do one with Adam because you were at like one of the inaugural events that had the beer at it with Daniel with the
Yeah.
Whale Fall beer.
Yeah,
You were
no, that
that,
was
yeah.
I think that was the first. I think that was that on sale day. I think that might have been
Yes, right, yeah, right around the same day,
like
yeah.
it might have been he might have been doing other stuff,
Mhm.
but I think that might have been or maybe it wasn't.
It was
I think
right around. It was either like the
it was
second
really
event or
like it was
first
like
event.
first or second
Yeah,
day. Yeah.
yeah,
It was yeah.
yeah.
But
He did he obviously probably did Chicago first, and then maybe came to
yeah,
Pennsylvania after
yeah,
that. But yeah,
yeah.
it's a fun experience, and people love it, and people are like, "Oh, this is kind of cool." And I'm like, "Yeah," and
No,
they're
it's
like,
a
"People
really neat thing.
yeah." So
Well,
it's been fun.
I'll write an adult book eventually,
Yeah,
and we'll
yeah.
do it.
But yeah, I mean, speaking of books, also like, well, as we feel, get close to wrapping this up right here, but you got Toxic Avenger
Oh
novelization
yeah,
coming up
yeah.
too, right? I mean, that's pretty
I keep
exciting.
forgetting about it. Yeah. And not for lack of excitement. I
Yeah,
just haven't had it. I haven't had a chance to promote it.
yeah,
I don't even think I've like the pre-order links out. I don't even think I've
yeah,
tweeted it out yet.
yeah,
But yeah, they remade the Toxic Avenger. Macon Blair, wonderful writer director, wrote and
yeah.
directed it. It stars Peter Dinklage, Kevin Bacon, a bunch of other very familiar, very cool faces. Elijah Wood. I I was approached I was approached by Titan, who does a lot of tie-in stuff and novelizations, for a different tie-in. Like it was a video game thing. And it was a very interesting property, like something I
Mm.
probably would have really liked to do. But I was very busy at the time. And
Yeah.
I just said, I was like, look, man, I can't like I kind of talked it over with my family and was basically like, I can't do this. I don't have the time to do this. And I had to tell him through my agent, but I was like, but I know you guys do because I like look through their catalog and they do a
Yeah.
lot of stuff with Legendary Films. They do like all the Godzilla and
Yeah.
Kong novelizations and things. So I was like, okay, well you have like the inn at Legendary, and I knew just through film fandom, I was like, this is way before. This is 4 years ago now,
Yeah.
probably. I knew that they were going to try to remake the Toxic Avenger, and I told the editor, I was like, look, I can't do this, but I would bend my rules and rearrange my schedule if there was a
Yeah.
way, there was a shot at like, you're probably not gonna. Who would novelize the Toxic? Who would what kind of lunatic would would release a novelization for the big budget remake of the Toxic Avenger? Like, why would you? That's not literature. Why would you do that? Like, but I was like, but if there's any way you're interested in that, or you're gonna try to do that, don't even look for other authors. I was like, don't even send out
Yeah.
query to agents.
Yeah.
I'm your guy. Like,
Yeah.
I was literally like, I was like, do not do that, please. I'll do it. Like, sight unseen, we'll barely negotiate. Like, I'll do it. And then like 3 days later, the editor sent me an NDA, and the NDA, and in the email with the NDA, it said, sign this NDA, but you already know what this is. And I was like, all right, hell yeah. So like, so I wrote it. I based it on making script. And this was before they hadn't even started shooting the movie yet. Based on making script, and then as they were shooting the movie, I was getting like pictures of like it's like set like
Yeah.
design photographs, like what Toxie looked like, there's a lot of like cool like gang members. There's like a lot of very trauma stuff in the movie.
Mhm.
Like so like basically like they just kept sending me like, like, oh, this doesn't match the script, so here's a picture, like, like, so
Mhm.
I was able to make it very faithful to the thing, to the movie. I wrote my first draft, and then I was able to see an early draft of the early cut of the movie.
Yeah.
And then kind of because that, if anyone's been following that at all, there's been a little like, there's been studio politics. It's not the
Mhm.
movie. Is it like anyone who follows that and thinks it's like, oh, this movie was on the shelf? It's not that.
Yeah.
It's like this movie was like used as like a bargaining chip between like different places, and like
Yeah.
and I think there were a lot of different players involved. But Cineverse, who released the Terrifier movies,
Yep.
kind of swooped in and rescued this movie and is giving it a theatrical release in September, I believe.
Yeah. End of
Either August.
August.
It's August. The movie comes out, and then the book comes out like the Tuesday after the movie
Yeah. So
comes out.
it's August
So it's
29th
like
is the
August
movie.
29th, and then and then the book
September
is like
2nd.
yeah, yep, exact. Thank you. You know better
Yes.
than I do. So that's yeah, September 2nd the book comes out, and I'm really really proud of it.
Yeah.
It's to say it's weird is an understatement. Like, because it's like the movie's weird and it's an
Yeah.
adaptation of the movie, but like I was very lucky in that like Macon Blair like gave me notes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, and some of his notes are like it's clearly just him on his phone. Like,
Mhm.
and some of his notes are just like ha 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 ha, very funny. Like that's like a note I got, and I was like, okay, cool, I'll keep that part. Like, so like I did a lot of formally interesting stuff. We'll say I don't want to say
Yes.
what it is because we're
Yes.
still months and months out from the book,
Yeah.
but I did. There's some stuff like if you've read like some of the weirder novelizations,
Mhm.
like Gremlins 2, The New Batch, there's
Yeah.
stuff approaching that level of oddness in this book, because I'm just such a huge fan of Trellman. I didn't want it to
Yeah.
just be a straight
Yeah.
one-to-one adaptation. Like it is everything that happens in the movie happens in the book, to a legal degree.
Yes.
And then there's a lot of other stuff because you got to fill stuff out. It's
Yeah.
a quick movie. It's like
Mhm.
an 85-minute movie, and they wanted a full length novel. So there's some stuff that I was able to I won't even say sneak in there because, like
Yeah.
I said, Macon read it. He's cool with it. Like, there's some stuff I was able to add and mess around with
Yeah.
that I felt very lucky, because I kind of handed in the first draft and was like, there's no way. Like, they're gonna make like there's like I think there's literally like 9 chapters in this book that are from a very odd POV that I'm like,
Yes.
they're gonna make me take those out. Like, and I kind of wrote them thinking that they were gonna get cut out. So I wrote them being like, well, the whole novel won't crumble if they
Yeah.
make me cut these parts. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're in it. Like, I haven't seen like arcs yet, but like I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that's all there. Like,
That's awesome.
so yeah, so it's a very fun, very weird, very trauma-esque book. Which
That's so
is
cool.
a great thing that I
Yeah.
got to do. Yeah.
It's just so cool because you're a fan of obviously movies and trauma and then like that to actually be able to work in that universe. It's kind
Oh
of cool
yeah, it's
too.
an
Like,
honor,
it's
and
like
that's why that's where I shot my shot.
Yeah.
I didn't think 2 days later I was gonna get an email saying I could do it. Like, I was just like, just in case. I was like, just in
Yes.
case you guys are gonna do a Toxic Avenger novelization, I would really like to do it.
Yes.
And it worked out. So there's a good writing tip, good publishing tip.
Yes.
If you think someone has something you want,
Yes.
ask.
Yes.
If you think
See,
someone has
maybe-
something you want, just
can't
ask
hurt.
for it. You know,
It can't hurt.
yeah, exactly. It can't hurt, and otherwise it can, yeah.
Until someone's like,
yeah.
wait, we're doing this, but someone mentioned to us a long time ago that they wanted to do this. Who
Exactly.
was it
Yeah,
again?
yeah. Luckily, I was fresh in their mind. Like they must have just had that meeting.
That's
Like
what they
even when
sent
I
that to you.
asked
They
them.
like sent it immediately to you. Like, maybe we'll do it, maybe we won't, but let's get this out to them right now so we don't
Yeah,
forget.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
So you have that coming out at the beginning of September. I'm guessing there's going to be a paperback release at some point of Clown in the Cornfield 3 at some point.
I don't.
I
It
don't know.
doesn't have a date
It's not
yet.
announced yet. Yeah.
I think they're usually about a year, so
Yeah.
it's probably leading into the Halloween
Yeah.
season. There will be
Yeah.
one. I think. I haven't. I should email my editor about it
Yeah.
now. I think he's kind of leaving me alone a little bit
Yeah.
because I'm supposed to be writing four.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I have it. I don't know, but I'll email. My best guess would be
Sometime
September.
this fall. Yeah. I
You know,
was thinking the
late
same thing.
August,
Yeah.
September,
Yeah.
just so it's on shelves for Halloween.
Yeah.
Would be my guess. And I
Yeah.
know there's a lot of people that are waiting on it. I know a lot of people can't do the hardcover. That's just
Yeah.
it's just it's company policy.
Yeah.
I don't control that.
Yeah. Some people want that, like me. I want the hardcover, so I want them all to match.
Yeah, and then
things
some
like
people
that.
are just dead
Someone
set
wants
against it.
softcover.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I meet
Yeah.
them at cons all the time, and I understand. I'm like I'm a collector. I know. And having to move with books is like it's not even a money thing at that point because like YA paperbacks are pretty cheap. Like it ends up with
Yes.
tax, it ends up being like
Yeah.
$3 more
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
the paperback. So it's not even like prohibitively expensive.
Yeah.
It's just people just don't like aesthetically or
Yeah.
functionally don't
Holding
wanna
it or whatever.
don't want
To me, I'm like they hold up
yeah,
better.
exactly.
I just moved 12 boxes of books to the new
Yeah,
house,
you're
so
moving, so you got
it's not.
you're regretting those hardcovers right now, I'm sure.
I
Yeah.
am. It's like all my Stephen Kings are hardcover. All that, like it's
Are
just
you moving pretty far from where you are now? Or are you
35 minutes, so it's not too bad. But like we're going back every
That's
weekend.
still not nothing. That's not like
No,
that's
yeah,
not like
we
2
can't
blocks
pop over.
no.
No. So it's one of those things where like shoving everything in the car and I'm putting everything in,
It
and
stinks,
there's
yeah.
built-in bookshelves. So I'm unloading the books
Oh,
so I
that's
can
kind of great
reuse the
though.
books,
You know what?
the boxes. So
Yeah, that's you know what? That's an upgrade though. That's awesome.
yes, exactly. Yeah, right there.
Built
Built
into the
in.
dream.
It's great.
Built
It's
into the
great.
dream.
Until my
Yeah.
wife was like, "Well, there's no more room. You can't buy any more books." I'm like, "I don't know. We'll make
Yeah,
room.
no,
We'll find
yeah.
room." But yeah, it's pretty funny. It's awesome. And I'm guessing I don't know. You'll have obviously a date at some point in the future for Clown in the Cornfield 4, but you're writing it right now, so let's
I
hope
think the
that
goal is always 2 years apart.
Yeah.
These books have been like clockwork, like
Yeah.
almost to the week,
Yeah.
almost to the weekend, like
Yeah.
2 years apart. So I don't want to overpromise.
Correct, but yeah.
Because like I've never been this kind of late on one before.
Yeah.
But I also like I know that I'm not gonna rush. The date will move before the book gets worse. You know what I mean? Like I only want to write a good book. So
Yeah.
like if we have to move it, we have to move it. I don't
Yeah.
think we will. I hope we
No.
don't. That I pray every night we don't, because there's still a lot of game left. There's still a lot
Yeah.
of time left. And I'm over like the halfway mark. It's not like I'm.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm
It's not like
starting
you
now.
it's not like you just starting like that. We get to work on
I
that
have
right
I have
now.
like a full approved outline. I'm over halfway done. It probably will be 2026.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Adam's signing off this podcast, and he's gonna be like, "Okay, what should I write about?" He's
Yeah,
starting
no,
the whole
exactly.
first
I'm like,
order.
what should this one be? Yeah, no. I have a plan.
There
My
you
plan
go.
is insane, but I have a plan.
It's awesome. Yeah. Every one of them gets more insane in that sense too. But it's all good for us as the fans of the book and the series. And now we have a movie, which is really cool because I feel like there's another whole. To me, it's a avenue for people to get in to read the book because there's a whole.
For sure.
We mentioned about the idea that there's probably more people who have seen the movie now than have even read the book, and so in that sense, you can now have the people who go out there and be like, you know what, I want to. I'm reading The Martian right now. Saw the movie first, so like it's one of those things. It's like it happens.
I met so many people this weekend that's the case, and I really appreciate them, and I'm so glad the movie's good, so that it drives people to want to read the book, which is great because the book is a pretty different experience. Like the characters and the characters in the story are the same, but like the tone is way different, and and I think there's slight tiny changes like that will like have repercussions if there were going to be sequels to the film that'll like kind of keep everything on its own path and its own universe, which is nice for me as an author because it doesn't nothing gets supplanted in a reader's mind of like, oh, was that the movie, was that the book? Like you're probably going to remember which one's which. Which is great. And I'm just a big fan of Eli, and I'm just a big fan of the movie. Big fan of everyone in the movie, especially Katie Douglas. I think she's just so good as Quinn. That I my selfishness of like wanting to see sequels is partly just wanting to see her do more kicking of asses.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think we talked about this last time you were on, but my daughter's middle name is Quinn, after Quinn Maybrook. So there's a little bit of an obsession over here for me too. So I would love to see more too, but just I'm really happy to see it.
I hope Katie does her proud, and
she won't see it for a while because she just turned 1. But
she'll get there though.
Well, maybe I could bring her right now. She would never even know what's going on.
Exactly. True. That's true. Yeah. You probably don't even have to buy her a ticket. You can sneak her in.
Just walk her in. Do you have a copy at your house that you get to watch, or do you have to go to the theaters to watch it again right now?
That's a good question. I think I had a screener link that is probably dead.
Probably dead now. So are you going to go to the theaters and see it again?
I've seen it maybe. Well, I'm going to see it one more time because I'm going to see it. I'm going to see it at least one more time because I'm seeing it at the Colonial Theater here in Phoenixville, PA. Okay. Is on Wednesday. As we record this on a Monday, on Wednesday we're doing it's going to be a cool screening because it's going to be in the same theater that The Blob ate. The Blob ate this movie theater in the 1950s in the Steve McQueen Blob.
That's awesome.
And Frendo's coming to town now, so it's going to be I've seen the movie like 9 times now.
Yeah.
And it plays awesome every time. So like I'm not bored of it. So
that's awesome.
What's stopping all your listeners from going the third or fourth time? Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like, go.
Yeah,
exactly. Let's go, people. Like, everybody go see it multiple times, see it in different theaters, different experiences, bring new people. See it on one weekend, read the book over the week, and then go see it the next weekend. That kind of thing.
Yeah, there we go. That Justin's got it.
And then read the sequels and all that stuff. They're phenomenal. But yeah, I mean, your books are available everywhere. So I would highly recommend grabbing the Clown and Cornfield series. I just read Zero Lives Remaining this weekend.
Nice.
So
I have to send an email about that book actually right when we get off the phone. Try to get my backlist back out there.
I'm in for everything. An influencer.
That's a New England one. That's New Hampshire. That's not that far from you.
And, not far at all. So there you go. It's a fun little book. It's short. It's easy to read, quick read, and so on. So if I have on my list to read other ones too, I've read a bunch of your stuff, but like I'm looking forward to it. But Clown and the Cornfield's great. People can pick up Influencer. You just put up there. Paperback's out. And that
I'm
one.
Really proud of this one.
Audiobook's great too.
This is the new hotness. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we'll see Toxic Avenger this summer. And Clown and the Cornfield in the future.
We're killing it, man. And I'll have many more podcasts to come on. So
I'm hoping you go back to comics at some point too. I would like to see. I got Dead Mole back here, but I want to see some more comics.
I love writing comics. I love writing comics. It's we'll see. My schedule's packed, but we'll.
I'm not pressuring you because I want it to be good. So don't squeeze it in. But we'll
make it happen.
I want the Clown and the Cornfield comic book adaptation is what I want. But
we'll see. I want to do that, but I don't want to do an adaptation.
Yeah, I know.
I want to do a spinoff. That's my goal. Is like I don't. People have asked. The people have already asked, and I'm not.
No, that can make sense.
Interested in it if it's not additive.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like if it's just another adaptation of the same story, I'm not as interested in it.
Tell that short story that can't be a full book, but
I have a few of those. I have a few
of
those that kind of would tie into the main series that I would like to do. So that's my perspective on that.
Yeah.
But there's nothing inked on that.
Exactly.
But yeah.
But for all the updates, you can find them on Instagram, all that stuff out there.
Instagram, TikTok, all this stuff. You can't get away from it. Adam Cesare everywhere.
You can find him on his website. You can buy stuff. You can buy signed copies of the book.
Signed copies through that's another thing I got to do when I get off the phone with you. I got to go to the bookstore and sign some books. So I work with a local bookstore called Children's Book World, and they'll ship, as long as you're in the U.S., they'll ship signed and personalized books wherever.
That's awesome. That's really cool. So exciting. I appreciate it. Congratulations. Your film, your adaptations on the screen.
Good luck with the move. Next time I talk to you, it'll be in a different place.
It'll be in a different studio. Yeah, it'll be great. I have my own space of their new place too, so it'll be great. But I thank you so much for taking the time out to talk Clown in the Cornfield, the movie, and so much more. I'll get you back on in the future. Thanks, Adam.
Thank you, Justin.